I am introducing Dr. J.S. Pandey, sir, who is going to give this keynote address today. Dr. J.S. Pandey, who is retired as a Chief Scientist, Science Secretary and Head Climate Change and Skilling Division at CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, NERI, National Environment Engineering Research Institute. He has also been the professor and chairman of SCSIR. After completing his graduation, post-graduation, PhD from IIT Kharagpur, he joined NERI, Nagpur, India as scientist in 1987. At NERI, he has worked on over new and innovative concepts related to environmental management like temporal risk gradients, environmental water demands, ecosystem health, exposure risk assessment, etc. These issues have wider ramifications and linkages in terms of implications related with climate change and environmental pollution. He has been the recipient of the prestigious NERI's Best Scientist Award, known as NERI Foundation Day Award, 2 times consecutively. He is also the recipient of the following awards given by Bharatiya Rajbhasha Vikas Sansthan, Dehradun. Bharatendu Rajbhasha Sahitya Shiromani Award, December 2007. Rajbhasha Kirti Saman, October 2006, and Vishesh Rajbhasha Kirti Samman, October 2008. Earlier in 1996, he had received the first All India Award in the essay competition for Hindi writing and scientific and technical matters. As also Vignan Chinta Lek Mala Prakash Puraskar from CSIR in 1996. Presently, he is working on the application of some emerging areas like ecological and carbon footprints. He has published about 100 papers in international, national, journal, conferences, and seminars, and has written about 7 chapters for national and international books. As the first Science Secretary of NERI and the first coordinator of CSIR Climate Change Program, he has guided and motivated more than 200 students for their PhD and MTech degree program. He has also been the first warden of NERI's Research Scholar Home, member of NERI's Management Council several times, and the first member secretary of NERI's Regional Advisory Board for the Northern region. He has been the editor of NERI's magazine called Paryavaran Patrika and has written a book called Paryavaran Evam Parivesh, which has got him the highest Rajbhasha honor. He has also been the first coordinator of CSIR Global Climate Change Program, first core coordinator of the National Committee on Land Use and Cover Change under the International Biosphere Program, and a member of the Scientific Committee, 3rd International Workshop on Uncertainty in Greenhouse Gas Inventories, Ukraine, 22-24 September 2010. He has visited many countries, including USA, Austria, Germany, and South Africa as invited speakers, as the chief guest, and the keynote speakers in many functions. He has motivated many colleges and school-going children towards the strong need for environmental conservation and consciousness. And sir, you are motivated us also. You are our role model also. We are following you from past. Desh Pandey, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir. One minute. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Inayatullah. I hope you can hear me. Are
yes,
you
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I have kept you in the waiting wings for such a long time. You know, in a way, it's a blessing in disguise, because earlier we were to meet on a different issue, but now this very important international issue called COVID-19 has come before us, and we are meeting on such a globally important issue today. Presentation is on the title of the presentation is Environment Friendly and Healthy Employment for Impecunious Section of the Society. I have deliberately put this word which will arouse some curiosity in your mind. Actually, impecunious is the word used for vulnerable sections of the society for which DLSA all across our nation is working. And recently we had this migrant related problems where Tanveer Ashraf Khan, in association with us, they have really done wonders for the shelter homes, on which I will speak in due course of time. Let me start with street disinfection, the causes and environmental concerns, because so many chemicals are being injected into the environment, sometimes deliberately, sometimes unknowingly, sometimes there is no alternative to that. That we have to look into all the environment and health related aspects and impacts of those chemicals. Stay inside, stay inspired. The COVID-19 pandemic that is sweeping across the globe imposes complex decision making. So the coronavirus pandemic has led to major changes for homes and businesses, including more frequent use of chemicals and disinfectants. While they do help, some can be dangerous to human health and the environment. That's the message Professor John Meeker, Senior Associate Dean for Research at the University of Michigan School of Public Health, has given. The main difference, we have to look into what are the roles of sanitizers and disinfectants. The main difference between sanitizers and disinfectants is that sanitizers reduce the number of germs on a surface, whereas disinfectants kill most of them. Sanitizers usually work faster than disinfectants, which can take up to 10 minutes to kill germs. Now coming to the main differences between cleaner, sanitizer, disinfectant, virucide and sterilant. Cleaner aids in soil removal. Simply, it aids in the removal of soil from a surface. Sanitizer reduces the number of bacteria, lowers the number of bacteria on surfaces to levels that are considered safe for public health organizations. Disinfectants, they kill fungi, bacteria, and viruses. Virucide, they kill viruses. And sterilant eliminate all fungi, bacteria, viruses, and spores. Now, to the effects of toxic chemicals. In the US, researchers estimate that 5% of childhood cancer and 30% of childhood asthma are related to chemical exposures. Best practices for using chemical sanitizers when they are needed include rinsing items with water and drying them after the chemicals are applied, according to the EPA. So there are various compounds, quaternary ammonium compounds, squats, fluorine compounds, alcohols, aldehydes, iodophores, phenolic compounds, and hydrogen peroxides, which can be used as disinfectants. So these disinfectants have recommended uses. Then there are scientific literature available and as to how they kill. They have advantages and disadvantages, some of them. So non-biodegradable and toxic chemicals. Some may not break down at all, but may persist in the environment like plastics. This may enter the food chain, being eaten by aquatic creatures and perhaps eventually by us. When consumed or absorbed through the skin, they may have harmful effects. People with sensitive skin or allergies may find these substances aggravate their conditions. So there are various ways of environmentally evaluating disinfectants, and I was just thinking if we can start with environmental impact of materials. And so earlier we were doing environmental impact assessment of activities, mainly industrial activities, but now there is a need for doing environmental impact assessment of even materials. I saw a very interesting paper in Environmental Science and Technology, and which has done the life cycle environmental impacts of disinfection technology used in small drinking water systems. So for educational institutes like Bangalore University and all are for their PhD topics, they can take such with us today. They would be interested in this aspect because their main job is to deliver social and socio-legal service to the vulnerable section of the society. So some work which we did and some work which is being done in many states from where we can learn or we can activate or accelerate those activities which are going on in those states is very important at the moment. So the challenges before us today are the initiatives for providing solutions to employment, economy, health and safety issues faced by vulnerable communities, through multiple collaboration, environment-friendly implementation. That's very important to remember. Through multiple collaborations, and we have the step which we have taken today probably would be a good step in the right direction. 116 districts, maximum from Bihar and UP, and they have mooted some plans, probably they have activated. How much success they have achieved, I really do not know, but these are some information available. So I'm just putting it forth before all of you, and this can be a topic for discussion amongst us to decide our future course of action on this. In all these 116 districts, Manrega farmers welfare schemes, food security schemes, PM Awas Yojana, Skill India schemes will be implemented in mission mode. That is what is reported in the newspapers. I really do not know what the states are making for migrants. UP has already sent list of over 3.5 lakh workers to industry associations, while Jharkhand is planning an urban wage employment scheme. For the rural workforce, almost all states are leaning on the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantees Act, Manrega. The central government had informed the Supreme Court last week, that was 3rd June, that 1 crore migrant workers had reached their home states as of 3rd June. But for skilled and semi-skilled workers, the states have been tying up with industry bodies to employ them. The states are now devising rehabilitation strategies based on the number of migrant workers who have returned and the skills they have. With over 1 crore migrant workers reaching home from cities and most of them unwilling to leave their villages in the short term, many states have set the ball rolling to provide livelihoods to them. Odisha has made Manrega the fulcrum of its effort to rehabilitate migrants in rural areas. The state has launched a rupees 17,000 crore special livelihood intervention plan, under which migrant workers will be given employment. So what is the need of the hour? The immediate focus should be ascertaining demand and imparting employer-led training for desired outcome and fast-tracking approval for additional courses, besides connecting employers with potential workers through employment exchanges. There is a strong need for concentrating on reskilling, as there would be many structural changes in the economy. A large and comprehensive reskilling program for those workers whose jobs may be at risk, including informal workers, workers in malls, cinemas that may not open for some more time, is needed to prepare them to work in other sectors, such as e-commerce. The government may opt for a blended model of learning, wherein the focus will be on scalability and quick turnaround time, so that we have more skilled personnel available at a short notice. So what can be the methodology which we need to follow? List of the industries in the district, list of migrant workers, identification of the skills of migrant workers, matching the skills of the migrant workers with the requirement of industries, dealing with the reorientation of skills, relocation of industries, need for training the workers. Just the background of, because some people may not be aware of what is NALSA and what are SLSAs and DLSAs. So this chart gives the very important activity which they are carrying out. So National Legal Services Authority, it has got many focuses. Mainly the main objective they have is they have to work for the vulnerable sections of the society. That is what is important. And there is a very useful newsletter which they are bringing out. I think with DLSA and patients on free and competent legal services to transgender people, training of paralegal volunteers and engaging them in the front offices of legal services institutions and in village level legal aid clinics. Half of the job which are required to do. So now the main issue before us is how to empower the poor, the farmers, the laborers, and downtrodden section of the society. There are successful and efficient wildlife management. Now, what are the employment opportunities for migrant workers in general? So they have in agriculture level 14.29%, 35.08% in construction, and 35.26% in other. If you further break it up, it is in agriculture 23.6, mining and quarrying 1.3, manufacturing 16.8, electricity, gas and water supply 0.8, construction 14.6, trade, etc. So these are the breakups. The employment opportunities available, but whether they are really getting employment or not, that's a moot question. What we have mooted an idea now, the green human resource management. I mean, it is similar to green skill development programs of Government of India, and with green human resource management and employment generation in environmental sectors. sectors. Those sectors could be air pollution control, water pollution control, and solid waste management under the following categories. Compostable, biodegradable waste can be buried underground. Plastic waste can be used for activities like road construction, etc. Even incineration of waste done in rural areas would be less risky due to easy dispersion and dilution in the open areas. So plantation done in a wise manner, in a judicious manner. Plantation actually, greening the planet is not just planting trees. Afforestation programs have to be done very judiciously and based on ecological concepts. At the moment, we mean afforestation just in terms of planting trees wherever we want. Actually, that's not the way plantation should be done. We have to be very careful which plant to plant, where, in how many numbers, under which circumstances, and in association with other plants, because plants also have their families, communities, and societies which are overlooked. So we have to, while doing plantation schemes, while following plantation schemes, we should not lose sight of the ecological engineering or the ecological concepts behind them. Plants help in controlling all the three: air, water, and soil pollutants. Hence, they can be called complete environment treatment plants, CET. Normally, CETP connotation means common effluent treatment plants, but our plants are, the real plants are complete environment treatment plants. So this is how this will help in controlling the injection of various chemicals and pollutants in the environment. The plants, the importance of trees, I think you can understand from this slide. It removes carbon dioxide, it removes many other air pollutants also. It reduces erosion in the soil, prevents flooding, adds oxygen to the environment. It's very much, actually it is a ventilator, natural ventilator for the environment, for which we are struggling to blow over at the moment. Cools our houses, so reduces the load on AC jobs, also reduces energy consumption, and in turn reduces the pollution generation by the energy consuming units. And it provides medicine also. Many of the medicines are based on the chemicals derived from plants. And this is the water treatment plant you can see. So this can be employed in rural areas, and these migrant workers can be employed in those sectors. So these are some slides which show how the environment gets polluted through various activities which we do on the earth, and I think by now many of us are familiar with this. There is waste in terms of air waste, water waste, and soil pollutants from manufacturing plants, runoff from agricultural pesticides. Then even rain passes through the air pollution, it produces things like acid rain. Then gasoline leaks also pollute the environment, animal waste and human waste, dead animals also. Drugs flushed into water supply, that's become a major concern these days, the antibiotics and their association with impact on microorganisms and their resistance. Then sewage and the waste runoff. Solid waste management and employment of opportunities, there are many at the level of source reduction, reuse, recycling, recovery, and disposal. And we can follow the concepts of integrated waste management there. For example, you see plastics and road construction, employment opportunities for migrant labor. There's so many. How plastic is used for roads. The plastic waste plant cleans raw plastic and shreds it into smaller pieces. The shredded plastic is transported to a hot mix plant where it is sprinkled over heated stone chips. This mix is combined with tar and coal and used to build roads. A road was built using plastic waste in Noida last year. 8 tons of shredded plastic waste is needed to build a 6-kilometer, 12-feet wide road and 800 km per hour processing capacity of the Bangalore plant. So we need, I think the DLSs, various DLSs need to make an enviro legal team with the following constitution. This can be expanded as the members feel. It should have a chief mentor, chief advisor, chief NGO coordinator, then representatives from DLSA for legal issues, representatives from district administration for issues. Strike that collaborations, but if we have some Supreme Court, High Court, and our DLSA's interventions, probably we will be able to make some some important, we will be able to take some important steps in that direction. And there are various issues related to changes in rules and regulations. You know, when I was doing some, going through cities sometimes, I found that so many vacant and lands, so many idle lands are lying. And I think they are lying in Nagpur and they must be lying in other cities also. These plots which are lying idle can be used as environmental sinks for pollutants. And they instead of paying tax in terms of money, they should pay tax in terms of ecological tax. Like they can plant, as long as they're lying idle, they can plant medicinal plants, herbs and shrubs, which they don't require forestry clearance for uprooting also when it's required to be uprooted. And they will all also help in remediating air, water and soil pollution. Long time back, we had mooted an idea of, instead of cross, slide through them. And if you find we can open up for discussion, then we will do that. I think majority of it is covered. This is what I wanted to say. All the ecological units have some monetary values, and when we, instead of GDP, gross domestic product, if we talk of gross ecological product, it will make a better sense, because not only economy, it will preserve our ecology also. So the possible solutions are monitoring, modeling and management based on common man's understanding. And we have to, this is a curve, ecological footprint curve and human development index on the x-axis. And see, as the human development index rises, the ecological footprint also rises. Now we have to develop those kind of plans which work in this square, which is known as the sustainable development quadrant. When the human development index is also more and ecological footprint is also less. Now you can see that just by increasing GDP, we do not get anywhere, because you see these countries, they have increased their GDP, and after a level, the development index or human development index or life expectancy, it plateaus out. More than that, as you increase the GDP, does not necessarily increase the development of the country. So I have some slides on how the EIAs can be modified and how NGTs can look into those issues and environmental impact issues, how we can do processes, specific environmental auditing. Maybe in some future lecture I will cover. There was an interesting paper I published recently looking at climate change and its socio-economic and ecological implications through biogeochemical cycle lens and Adam and Eve analysis. Adam is a creation of data and modulation, and Eve is environmentally viable engineering estimates. And even we can generate district level ecosystem health cards, and where the migrant laborers can be given employment. So these are some of, or we have already started this exercise, although not sponsored by any agency. On our own, we have taken up this exercise. And we have, for Krishna Basin, we have done some estimates in terms of the carbon, in the terms of pollution sequestration potential or mitigation potential, and the pollution generation potential. And we have matched. The green is for sequestration and the red is for generation. Wherever the green is higher than red, the situation is better, the carrying capacity is better. It is basically an exercise in the area of estimating carrying capacity. So sustainability creates and maintains the conditions under which humans and nature can exist in productive harmony. That balance has got broken at the moment, you can see in terms of COVID-19. And Ban Ki-moon says sustainable development and climate change are two sides of the same coin. So we actually don't need to take two different routes for doing that. I think if we combine one, that will solve the other one automatically. So then there are various issues under which the employment can be offered to our downtrodden and vulnerable communities. And these are some of the newspaper clippings of the training programs we did at Giri premises in association with DLSA Nagpur and our International Skill Development Society run by Mr. Ashraf Khan. So there were some interesting slides. I think I will skip them for a moment. So thank you very much. I think this would be enough for